Hello, welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. Sachi is missing. I need to find her. Gazing out the front windows into the gray sky, Amane mutters to no one in particular. The rain started falling a little before dawn and hasn't let up since. If anything, the sound of water drumming against the building seems to grow louder with the passage of time.
ちゃんと雨風をしのいでるといいのだけど。
大丈夫だって。もし外にいるとしたら傘くらい買ってるわよ。
きっとそうなのよさ。
Somebody breaks the silence, venting some new concern that's pushed its way into their mind. Someone else offers their best attempt at soothing words, and we're left listening to the rain once more. Since my return, we've repeated this pattern more times than I can count. A little after 9, Chizu called to let me know she'd given formal notice to the police. It's been nearly 4 hours since then. Since we've decided to rely on the authorities, the most helpful thing you can do is keep calm and stay out of the way. The police are fundamentally superior in terms of manpower and investigative skills, on top of which they have the critical advantage of socially sanctioned authority. In other words, we can let the professionals take care of the rest. A completely understandable judgment for a principal to make. Objectively, it's probably the wisest possible course of action. But however rational it may be, sitting around quietly like this is proving very hard to stomach. I spent longer than this standing by on the job, but it feels completely different this time. The anxiety and frustration swirling around inside me seem to be growing exponentially with every hour that ticks by. It's increasingly a struggle to maintain my cool. Sachi definitely said those exact words to me just a few feet from where I'm sitting. And when Sakaki and Amane went into her room to investigate, they didn't find any evidence she wandered off on some spur-of-the-moment journey. The girl does have a slightly whimsical side, but it's hard to imagine her taking a trip without even packing a change of clothes. Suddenly leaping up from the sofa, Michiru breaks the silence, her voice tinged with something close to desperation.
こんなに心配かけて。帰ってきたらみんなの部屋の掃除くらいじゃ許さないんだから。みちる。
それにサチがいなくなってもう1日になるし、きっとお腹もグーグー鳴ってるはずなのよ。
さっちゃんが何をしてるにしてもきっと食事くらいはとってるわよ。
本当なのよ。
Yeah, her wallet wasn't in her room apparently. She's got money to eat at least.
それならよかったのよさ。
ただ何かの事件に巻き込まれている場合はその限りじゃないでしょうけどね。ちょっとユミコ、縁起でもないこと言わないでよ。でもその可能性がないとは言えないでしょ。それは。
Michiru falls back into an awkward silence. Nobody's come out and said it until now, but we've all been thinking something of the sort. We all know Sakaki's right. Considering Sachi's personality, it's hard to imagine she'd vanish without a word, and the completely normal condition of her room makes this even stranger. No matter how much I want to deny it, there's a very real possibility something happened to her.
じゃあサッチンは悪い人に連れて行かれちゃったのよ。
大丈夫よ。まだそうと決まったわけじゃないんだし。
Unable to fully deny that unpleasant possibility, Michiru's voice grows weak and uncertain. Michiru's right. As long as we don't hear anything from the police or Sachi herself, we can't make any assumptions, and until then, we need to do what we can. Apparently the others are just as fed up with waiting around as I am. The instant the words leave my mouth, they lean in toward me with intent expressions on their faces.
そうよね。そのためにもまずは状況を整理しましょう。
Sounds about right.
じゃあもう一度詳しく聞かせてほしいんだけど、ユージは昨日さっちゃんとどんなやり取りをしたの？
Yesterday morning, Sachi and I agreed to continue the testing at 1 p.m. as usual. But I got called to my part-time job at the last minute. I told Sachi we'd reschedule for 5 in the afternoon.
その時さっちゃんは何て言ってたの？
Said she might be a little late. Asked if that'd be alright.
少し遅れるか。教室には昨日から定期的に様子を見に行ってるけど、さすがに少しって時間じゃなくなってるわよ。そうね。
After that, she just confirmed that she'd be waiting in the usual place as of 5 p.m.
待ってるって言ったってことは、少なくとも教室に向かう意思はあるってことよね。そうなるけど。待って。
Sakaki abruptly interrupts Amane's words, her eyes flashing.
本当にいつもの場所は教室だったのかしら。
I see. That just might be it.
どういうこと？
With that one sentence, everyone, with the exception of a certain bottle blonde, instantly grasped what Sakaki's implying.
そう考えたら辻褄が合うかも。
Yeah, it's definitely coherent, but
ねえちょっと自分たちだけ納得してないで私にも分かるように説明してください。いきなり土下座した。
じゃあその役はスオーさんに任せるわ。オッケー。
after accepting Sakaki's request with a mildly exasperated nod, Amane sits up straight in her chair to explain.
ほら、みちるもさっちゃんがお願いや約束を絶対に守る子だってことは知ってるでしょ？もちろんよ。だから普通に考えて、さっちゃんはユージと約束した場所で待ってるはずなのよ。でも教室にはいなかったわよ。
言ってみればそこがミソなのよさ。
ミソ？そう、ユージにとってはいつもの場所が教室だったかもしれないけど、さっちゃんにとっていつもの場所が教室だったとは限らないじゃない？
あ そっか。
At this point, Amane finally succeeds in shoving Machira's train of thought down the tracks to the point everyone else passed 5 minutes ago, prompting an overblown reaction. I didn't explicitly tell her to wait in the classroom. There's a possibility she went somewhere else entirely. Normally, anyone would know I was referring to the classroom, but in Sachi's case, a misunderstanding of some kind seems disturbingly possible.
なるほどね。で、サチにとってのいつもの場所はどこになるの？
そこが問題ね。小峰さんが今も別の場所で待っていたとしても、その場所がわからなければ探しようがないわ。そっか。
To be honest, I don't know what she could have thought I meant other than the classroom.
ねえ、お兄ちゃん、サチは他に何か言ってなかったのよ。
No, nothing else about the location anyway.
じゃあ、サッチンと一緒にいたところを思い出すのよ。そこを全部回ればどこかにサッチンがいるはずなのよさ。
I've been trying. Outside the school grounds, the only place that really comes to mind is the shopping district.
だとしたら、まだ見つからないのはおかしいのよさ。
Yeah. For one thing, I thoroughly combed both the shopping district proper and the commercial area around the station.
となると話は結局振り出しか。でも考えるべきことは分かったわ。
おうよ、私も一生懸命頭を使って考えるのよさ。私だってそのつもりだけど、二人で行った場所ってことなら結局有事頼みになるわよね。
As if on cue, all four turn their gazes toward me. Yeah, you're not wrong. I might be overlooking something here. I'm going to try to settle down and think this over as calmly as possible.
そうね。ずっとここでうなってるのが悪いのかもしれないし、ここは一度仕切り直した方がいいかもね。
Everyone assents to Amane's suggestion. We temporarily suspend our meeting in an attempt to break out of this rut. The girls trudge back to their respective rooms. Soon enough, I'm left alone on the lobby sofa, gazing blankly out the window. In the end, I throw myself right back into the problem without even taking the time to stand up and stretch my legs. The usual place, is it? The usual modifier means it has to be somewhere she visits frequently. In context, some place that I've been with her on a regular basis. No matter how many times I roll those conditions through my head, the only places that fit the bill are inside the grounds of the school. It's enough to make me realize just how limited our relationship is. Sachi and I have really never been more than classmates. Our frequent interactions the result of simple proximity inside this somewhat claustrophobic school. Not that any of that is an excuse. So I can't even track down a single classmate without my special eyes and ears? Thank God my master's not alive to see this. She'd be in hysterics. No. If my master was here, she'd probably be angry at me before anything else. Angry that I'm wasting my time thinking about this crap instead of the problem at hand. That's right. Think. If the general premise I'm working from is correct, there has to be something I'm missing here. This isn't the first time I've hit a wall like this, and Asako taught me what to do at times like these. The concept of coincidence was invented by vapid romanticists as a pickup line. Listen up and listen good. Things happen the way they do for a reason. When none of it makes any sense, stop bashing your head against the wall and take a step back. Let your mind go limp. Just like the proverbial bluebird of happiness, the answer is going to be sitting in a surprisingly obvious place. Surprisingly obvious, huh? Come to think of it, it feels like plenty of things have happened even inside this birdcage of a school. To be perfectly honest, at first I had just had her down as a weirdly diligent girl. But after a while, I found out that she has a surprisingly amusing side, and eventually I started getting genuinely interested in what makes her tick. Sachi kind of resembles me. That thought might have been the biggest single reason for my uncharacteristic curiosity, but whatever the case, my little talks with her have been leaving a strong impression on me lately. Even so, there's just nothing there, nothing in those memories that stands out as an answer. Curses! Tearing my eyes away from the dour gray sky, I glance around the lobby in an attempt to distract myself from this unproductive frustration. A bamboo broom propped up beside the entrance catches my eye. Seeing that broom sitting idly by is proof enough that Sachi's not around. It never seems to leave her side when she's puttering around the dorm.
自分が使う場所は綺麗だった方が嬉しいですから。
Just yesterday, she made her work as a pseudo-maid sound like her life's mission. Come to think of it, outside of the classroom, Sachi's been wearing a maid uniform constantly since the day we met. Hold on, could I be making a really fundamental mistake in my assumptions here? For one thing, if I was wrong about something that basic, the field of possibilities grows significantly wider. And when I narrow those down using the conditions I've been rolling around in my head all this time, all of a sudden I've got a completely different candidate for the usual place. But if I'm right about this, there's one point in particular that seems completely inexplicable. That said, we've reached a total dead end otherwise. I have no choice but to run with it.
あれ、ユージ、また外を探しに行くの?
Just as I'm rising to my feet, Michiru reappears in the lobby, probably stopping by to check up on me. Yeah, I think I may know where Sachi is.
あ、そうなんだ。って、あんた今なんて?
Like I said, I might have figured out the usual place Sachi was talking about. I'm going to head there to check right away. Let the others know, will you?
ああ、うん。それくらいなら私にもできるけど。
Alright, I'm counting on you, Michiru.
あんたこそ気をつけていきなさいよ。
Without pausing to grab an umbrella or raincoat, I rushed out of the dorm, sent off by Michiru's earnest, if completely out of character, words of concern. Not bothering to avoid the puddles in the pocketed asphalt road, I sprint single-mindedly away from the dorm. On the job, it's fundamental common sense not to set up an umbrella even in the middle of a typhoon. This rain doesn't even faze me. More importantly, every second counts right now. An entire day has passed since Sachi went missing. 24 hours since she left the dorm. And she may have been waiting for me all this time. She may still be waiting even now. A festering sense of frustration inside me swells to unbearable intensity. Sachi.
これは自分でもどうしてなのかわからないのですが、風見さんに褒めてもらえると胃の上のあたりが温かくなるんです。私また風見さんの前で気を失う。ご明察です。それに風見さんはカレーがお好きでしたよね。
Ironic. After all that time going around in circles, now it's like the dam broke. Just as my master said, the breakthrough was staring me in the face all along. Sachi gave me plenty of hints herself. My new hypothesis growing firmer with every step. I make my way toward the other usual place. Nothing left to do but see if she's there. This place hasn't changed as much as I expected. I mumble to myself, feeling my way through vaguely familiar streets. Enduring a several-hour train ride from Mishima Cape, I returned to this place for the first time in many years. This is the town where I was born. In my earliest years, before my master took custody of me, I lived here with my parents and sister. Never thought I'd be coming back here, much less looking for Sachi. The only constant in life is its unpredictability. Slowing my pace, I move carefully forward, guided only by faded memories. The usual place that came to mind when all the reasonable answers failed was a small park. My one and only childhood playground, situated on the outskirts of this town. Here we go. Wait, so is she the girl he knew as a kid? The area around the park is thoroughly deserted, and the streetlights outside are dimmed to an absolute minimum. It's a small playground designed to give young children a place to romp around on sunny days, so that's all as expected. There's no way anybody would be using this playground on a miserable, rainy evening like this one. That would be the common sense conclusion, but...
ほら、みちるもさっちゃんがお願いや約束を絶対に守る子だってことは知ってるでしょ。だから普通に考えて、さっちゃんはユージと約束した場所で待ってるはずなのよ。
I recall Amane's words from this morning. We all knew that what Sachi was like, We knew she was bizarrely obedient. We knew she was prone to making strange mistakes as a result of subtle misunderstandings. But we'd all assumed those quirks were nothing more than a reflection of her diligent personality. We'd all assumed she would bend those rules of hers if it ever became truly necessary. That's exactly why I don't want her to be here. Much as I want to find Sachi, those words spill out of my mouth. And contradictory as it might seem, I really mean them. If Sachi's here, my initial concerns about her behavior were justified. My vague unease will become something far more concrete, far harder to face. Given any choice in the matter, I don't want that to happen. No, I can't afford to worry about that right now. Forcibly persuading myself to refocus on the problem at hand, I finally enter the park. And once inside that dim, desolate playground, my eyes quickly find a small figure illuminated by moonlight. Sachi. So what does this mean? The swing set's a tiny thing, made for the use of young children. Crammed into the undersized wooden seat, indifferent to her rain-soaked clothes, Sachi looks up at me and smiles. Have you been waiting here since yesterday? Without even eating, in the rain, all this time? You idiot! It's too much for me to endure. She's just too pitiful right now. Before I know it, I'm shouting down at her.
どうしてでしょう。私、いきなり怒られてしまいました。
Of course I'm angry. Why? Didn't you realize I wasn't coming? Didn't you realize something was off? Why didn't you just leave? Why the heck did you sit here all this time just to keep some worthless promise? An intimate tone, completely unlike the formal style of speech Sachi usually employs. And that vaguely embarrassing nickname. The combination resonates nostalgically with memories rendered fuzzy and indistinct by the passage of time. Sachi's words. The connections I'm drawing have to be real. Why would you pick up other people's trash?
だって次にこの場所で遊んだ時綺麗だった方が嬉しいでしょ
So my guess was correct after all. You and I didn't meet for the first time in the Miyama dormitory.
はい風見さんとは以前ここで遊んでいたことがあります
Sachi confirms my words casually as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Of course, her mere presence in this place is proof enough. Sachi, how long have you known?
最初にそうかもしれないと思ったのは転入してきた風見さんからお名前を聞いた時ですそれからいろいろお話ししていくうちにだんだんそうじゃないかなと思い始めていたのですが最終的にゆうくんだと気づいたのは風見さんが 初めて私の頭を撫でてくれた時です。
That was enough to convince you?
だって風見さんの手は私が大好きだったゆうくんと同じ温かさをしていましたから。
In other words, Sachi realized some time ago and kept quiet until now. Then why didn't you say anything?
どうしてですか？
I'm asking why you didn't tell me about all this. If I'd known, I might have remembered this place much more quickly, right?
すみません。風見さんが別の場所で待っているという考えは全くありませんでした。
It didn't occur to you?
はい。幼い頃の私と風見さんが待ち合わせていたのはいつもこの公園で、逆を言えばここ以外のですから、風見さんからいつもの場所と言われれば私にはこの場所しか思い浮かびます。はい。
So many things happened so fast back then. The details are still fuzzy for me, but Sachi's memories of the time we spent together don't seem to have faded, and this playground is clearly a very important place to her. But even so...
それに家と言われませんでしたから。
I see. Come to think of it, Sachi's always been like this. Silently carrying out her orders like a faithful robot, never expressing doubt or interjecting with her own opinion, never advancing her own interests. The rare exceptions come only when Sachi judges it strictly necessary. Even then, she's usually just seeking clarification. There's no longer any doubt in my mind. Those rules have to be the very reason Sachi ended up in Mihama Academy. In other words, it's all exactly as I feared.
風見さんはどうしてそんなに悲しそうな顔をしているんですか？
Because I am sad, idiot. What, aren't you?
そうですね。私は嬉しいです。
Happy?
待ち合わせ時間を考えたら遅刻かもしれませんが、ゆうくんはこうして来てくれました。だから私はとても嬉しいです。
As Sachi smiles up at me, I finally realize something. The one thing about this girl that truly resembles me is the way she smiles. An artificial thing, plastered on for the sake of lubricating social interactions, an attempt to put others at ease rather than a reflection of any real emotion. Maybe she's not lying, maybe she really is happy, but whatever the case, that smile is all. How many times have I seen this expression on her face, and I'm only realizing now. Pathetic. No, maybe it's not surprising I didn't notice. I've managed to fool plenty of people the exact same way. It's a skill that develops with practice.
そんな顔しないでください、風見さん。風見さんはちゃんと約束を守ってくれました。だから今度は私がこうする番です。
Rising unsteadily to her feet, Sachi reaches up and brings her hand to rest on top of my head.
約束守ってくれてありがとう、ゆうくん。
Maybe it's sheer surprise. Maybe some part of me wants things to stay like this a little longer. I can't tell for sure. Whatever the case, my body's frozen in place under the gentle movements of that small hand. Sachi, what are you?
勝手なことをしてすみません。でも私が最後にいつもの場所で遊ぶ約束をしたとき、ゆうくんはこの公園に来てくれませんでした。
I didn't?
はい。でもゆうくんは悪くありません。あの時の私は悪い子で、ゆうくんが来てくれなかったのも当然です。でも今回は違います。ちゃんと約束をした待ち合わせでした。だからそこにゆうくんが来てくれて、私本当に嬉しい。
Sachi! I catch Sachi in my arms as she collapses forward, the last of her strength gone.
すみません、風見さん。今体を。
Nothing to apologize for. Don't push yourself.
そう言っていただけると助かります。なぜか立ち上がろうとしても体に力が。
Hardly surprising, after sitting through that rainstorm without eating or drinking. At a quick estimate, Sachi's been in this place 28 hours straight. And I'm willing to bet that she didn't even allow herself to take a nap the whole time she was waiting for me. No matter how sturdy the girl is, she must be well past the limits of her physical endurance by now.
ですが私はこれから風見さんとのテストの。
You don't need to worry about that either. The only thing you promised me was to wait until I showed up, and you kept that promise. You can rest now.
それならよかったです。
With those words and a particular weak attempt at a smile, Sachi instantly falls unconscious. Within seconds, she's gone totally limp, leaving me to bear her full weight in my arms. It's only then that I finally realize just how alarmingly cold her body is. The girl's clearly in bad shape, to the point that she needs medical attention, and quickly. Even so, the expression on her face as she sleeps seems genuinely happy, in a way that artificial smile never was. I may be a pretty pitiful excuse for a human being, but maybe, just maybe, there's something I can do for this girl. You're a heck of a lot tougher than you look, Sachi. After brushing a few drops of rainwater from Sachi's face, I pull out my cell phone and call Chizuru.
もう一緒に遊べないの？私そんなのやだよ。せっかく仲良くなれて、これからもっともっとゆうくんと遊べると思ったのに。それなのに突然お別れしなきゃいけないなんて。私明日も待ってるから。ゆうくんが来てくれるまで絶対いつもの場所で待ってるから。
Even after hearing Sachi's story, this is about as much as I can remember. As children, we parted abruptly. Our burgeoning friendship was cut off without warning. That must have happened when I was forced to move away after my sister's death. That much makes sense. But there's still one part of all this that I find completely inexplicable. I understand that Sachi has to be the same person who played with me as a child. But the girl in my memories was energetic and strong-willed in the extreme, a little spoiled even. Her personality and way of speaking were totally unlike the Sachi I know today. Of course, people naturally change as they grow up, but I don't know of many transformations that dramatic. Something must have triggered such a radical shift. I guess that something is connected to our conversation back then, but there's no way to know for sure until I learn more about Sachi's past. With what happened over the last 2 days, I think that's become necessary.
「屋上で星を眺めるなんて意外にロマンチストなところがあったのね。
Chizuru.
私は学園長室で待っててって言ったはずだけど。
Sorry, felt like getting some air.
そう。
Dropping the line of questioning, Chizuru walks up to stand at my side.
各種への連絡と病院での手続きは一通り済ませてきたわ。
Appreciate it. Sorry to push all the work on you.
それは私のセリフよ。学生の管理は私の仕事だし、小峰さんだってあなたが見つけてくれたんだから。
True enough.
それより、あなたは小峰さんのそばにいてあげなくてもいいの？
She's got 4 dedicated nurses at the moment. I think she'll be alright.
それはそうだけど。でも、
Women don't like having men ogle them as they sleep, right?
まったく。こういう時に冗談が言えるのはあなたくらいのものだと思うわよ。
Blame my sister. I inherited it from her. But anyway,
他にやることができた。
Right. Remember what you told me a little while ago? How you don't expect me to do anything in particular for this school or its students?
ええ、確かにそう言ったわ。
I've got a follow-up question.
何かしら。
Are you willing to let me get involved on a voluntary basis?
ええ、もちろん。
Good to know. Sounds almost like she was expecting this from the very start. Guess there's a reason she's able to get by sitting around and sipping expensive tea all day.
でもいいの？これは市ヶ谷の任務でもないし、あなたにとって何の得にもならないことかもしれないわよ。
No, but I didn't come to this school for duty or profit. You might say I'm here precisely because I wanted something more than that. Right. I wanted to understand the meaning of the words my master left me.
なるほどね。
Also, in a way, I owe Sachi my life.
小峰さんが命の恩人？
Sachi and I knew each other as kids, and it's probably thanks to her that I managed to push my way through the worst of it.
驚いた。そんなことがあったなんて私も知らなかったわ。
Not surprising, I just remembered a little while ago myself.
そう。
Lowering her hand from the fence, Chizuru turns to face me.
でもそういう理由があったなら小峰さんだったのは納得ね。
Circumstances aside, simple truth is, Sachi caught my interest as she is today.
惹かれたか。それなら今度こそ小峰さんについての報告書を渡しましょうか。
Like I said before, that won't be necessary.
じゃあ断ることができない小峰さんから聞き出す？
That's not it either.
だったら
I'll handle this my way. In this case, maybe it's a pointlessly roundabout method, but I've gotten by with it all this time, so I'm going to stick with what I know.
なるほど。不器用だけどまっすぐであなたらしい考えね。
Was that supposed to be a compliment?
さあどうかしらね。
Blatantly evading the question, Teaser offers me a composed smile. Alright, think it's about time I got going.
ええ、何か必要になったら遠慮なく言ってくれていいから。
I'm counting on it, Principal Tachibana. Well then. Stepping outside the school grounds, I retrieve my cell phone from my pocket. Even if it does ultimately come down to asking for someone's help, I'll stick to the methods I trust most. If I want to change something, to accomplish something meaningful, I think that's the way it has to be. Julia, I need a favor.
案外気持ちよさそうに寝てるわね。まったくあれだけ心配させておいてのんきなもんよ。
と見せかけてずっとこのままなんてオチは嫌なのよ。
あんたはさらっとなんてこと言うのよ。
それだけサッチンが心配なのよさ。
心配しなくても平気よ。看護師さんから話を聞いた限りでは疲れて眠っているだけらしいから。
それならよかったのよさ。
でもユージ、よくさっちゃんを見つけられたわよね。そういえばそうよね。
愛の力すげえな。
やっぱりそうなのかしら。
お、一番意外なところが食いついてきやがった。
大はないわ。ただ最近仲良くしていたみたいだし、本当にそういう力が働いたのかと思っただけよ。やめてユミコ、キャラかぶってる上にうまいから。うまいってか、多分榊さんのは天然だからね。私は諦めないわよ。うなぎだって天然物より美味しい養殖物だってあるんだから。
チルチル静かにしろよ。サッチンが起きちゃうのよさ。
あんたが煽ったくせに。それより本来の面会時間はとっくに過ぎているんだし、そろそろ戻った方がいいわ。そうね、着替えとかいろいろ用意しなくちゃいけないものもあるし。っていうか、ユージのバカはどこで何やってるのよ。俺はやることがあるってすぐどっかに行っちゃったからね。 その場に居合わせた人だからこそ分かったことがあるんでしょうね。こんな時までカッコつけなくてもいいのに。
でもそこが好きなんだよな。
うるさい。ほらほら、本当にさっちゃん起きちゃうから、そろそろおいとまするわよ。分かってるわよ。
じゃあサッチ、すぐに戻ってくるから、それまでいい子にしてるのよ。
Mere moments after I pick up the sound of a well-tuned V8 engine approaching, a familiar yellow prancing horse pulls smoothly to a halt in front of my eyes.
お待たせ、ユージ。
And a split second later, the person I've been expecting emerges from the driver's seat.
もうこんな時間の呼び出しに海外しく答えるのは私ぐらいのものよ。
Yeah, I do, and I appreciate it. When I offer a few straightforward words of thanks, JB furrows her brow. Something wrong?
皮肉を言ったつもりが真面目に返されちゃって何も言えなくなっただけよ。
My bad.
別に怒っているわけじゃないけど、この子が前に言ってたストレスを感じない子なんでしょ。
As JB speaks, she holds out a single manila envelope.
しかもそれ一応部外費の資料なのよ。
Right? That's why I had to ask you, Julia.
まあ頼まれて持ってくる私も私だけど。
Thanks, I owe you for this one.
なんだかユージが素直だと調子が狂うわ。
JB shrugs her shoulders as I take the documents from her hand. It's not that I don't trust Chizuru, but I prefer to get my information from a familiar, reliable source.
それから分かっているとは思うけど、その資料には先に目を通させてもらったわよ。
Yeah, not a problem.
この学園の子たちがそれぞれに問題を抱えているのは知っていたけど、その子もいろいろあったみたいね。
I see. I was more or less expecting JB to read the documents before handing them over, but judging from her vague language, it seems there was indeed something fairly dramatic inside.
これは純粋にあなたを知る友人として聞くけど、その子が抱える問題を知ってどうするつもりなの？
Don't know yet, but
でも
if there's something I can do for her after reading these, I think I will. JB answers my words with a searching gaze, her expression unusually serious. I stare steadily back into her eyes. For a moment, there's silence between us.
そう、あなたがそう考えているなら私は何も言わないわ。
You're not opposed to the idea?
私にあなたのプライベートまで奪う権利はないし、そこまで言うからにはそれなりの理由があるんでしょ。
In other words, you trust me?
そうね。これでもあなたのことはよく知ってるつもりよ。何せ私は
あなたの友人であり上司であり保護者なんだから。
True enough. With my master and my older sister dead, JB is without a doubt the foremost living authority on the subject of me.
ただ一つだけ釘を刺させてもらうけど、あなたがこれから何をするにしても仕事は今まで通りこなしてもらうわよ。
Yeah, of course, that was the plan.
その言葉が聞けて安心したわ。今は予備役扱いとはいえ、あなたを頼りにしている人間はたくさんいるんだから。
Apparently satisfied, JB gives me a friendly thump on the shoulder as she passes by.
それじゃあ私はそろそろ戻るわね。
Right, I appreciate the help, JB.
感謝の気持ちを表すなら、今度高級イタリアンでもご馳走してちょうだい。
Okay, return to usual playful tone. JB deftly brushes a loose strand of her thick golden hair into place, then steps back into her car. Yeah, I'll make a note. As the prancing horse grows small in the distance, I mutter wryly to myself. After returning to the courtyard, I sit down on a nearby bench and examine the contents of the envelope JB handed me. At a glance, it's 6 pages filled with text, almost certainly printed from a personal computer. So now I've got my hands on Sachi's past. What's more, I managed to obtain it quietly from a source with absolutely no connection to these events. For JB, it was probably a simple job involving nothing more challenging than a few minutes of database scrawling on a neglected terminal. But this way, if and how I make use of this information is completely up to me. Yes! Got it there. Yep. Same twist as Katomi a little bit, but they're doing it a little differently. And I am now playing as Sachi. Look at that. Wow. Alright. Bye.